I'm gonna make this straight to the point. Look, I'm here to sever the heads of you mama's boys on this video. Last week, I was interviewed as a guest on Talk Shoe Radio's The Chad Factor. And I'll send you the link to that show so you can listen to it yourselves. But the interview turned into an interrogation session where sisters and simps were calling in, whining, and complaining about the videos that I've been posting here on YouTube that are very critical of women and black women in particular. And when I dropped the facts and they realized that none of them could refute or challenge any of the evidence that I have provided in any of my past videos, getting especially upset over the fact that I went in on Afeni Shakur, who was the mother of deceased rapper slash actor Tupac, after one of the black conscious movement coons claimed that she was a queen.
She's your queen to be.
So I backed up the information that I originally shared on my classic 5 Elements of Simping video, calling Afeni Shakur what she really is, which is a crack-headed opportunist who got limelight shed upon her because her mama's boy's son was too naive to see that he was lied to. Yeah, a lot of you dear mama singing buffoons have no idea that Tupac was told that some other cat was his father for years, and even showed up to the other man's funeral, hating on a man that wasn't even his father.
Now ain't nobody tell us it was fair. No love from my daddy cause the coward wasn't there. He passed away and I didn't cry cause my anger wouldn't let me feel for a stranger.
Because his biological father, Billy Garland, lived right in New Jersey and was a gainfully employed married man with other children who were in his life. And what is truly sad is the fact that had Bill Garland been given the opportunity to take his son from his crack-headed baby mama, Tupac might still be alive with a wife and children of his own, instead of being martyred as a messiah for that stupid thug life image that many of our youth still glorify long after his death.
They like me, I want them to love me like they love pop. They like me, I want them to love me like they love pop.
On this show, I supplied other facts, and when all of the callers who were ganging up on me knew they couldn't simply use the old "it's racism and white supremacy" claim, they pulled the only card that they had left in the deck, which is the "Yo Mama Black" card, and I stunned their asses by dropping an ace on the table when I told them that my black mother, rest her soul, was held accountable for her actions just as I hold any other woman accountable. And the moment I told them this, these clowns were shocked, and they all decided to power up on me, talking about, "But that was your mama." Let me tell you all something. Now, I don't expect any of these women to get it, or want to get it for that matter, because most of them want things to remain screwed up because they enjoy being catered to and told that this shit don't stink. And they're doing such a magnificent job with these female-headed households, leading the community to hell. But you simps and manginas, and mainly you little mama's boys, look, you better begin analyzing the situation that we as men, and in particular black men, are in our homes, our communities, our schools, religious institutions, places of employment, etc. Because you are an absolute fool if you don't evaluate the central authority figures who are around you. I did that video on my Feminist Hypocrisy series called Feminist Hypocrisy 4, Management Has Failed, where I spoke of the fact that black women have most of the leadership positions in our community, but they collectively continue to do nothing but pat themselves on the back and expect praise and adulation for anything that is to be considered positive, all the while blaming black men for any and everything that does go wrong, when black men have been reduced to low-level workers and subordinates under their reign of terror. Now, I want you mama's boys to ask yourselves something. Is this what a leader does? Is a leader someone who only accepts applause and accolades when things are going great, but points the finger at others and shuns away from any sort of criticism when things are terrible? Because that isn't even feminism, folks. That's fascism. But we must remember that feminism is a daughter of fascist thinking. But that's a different video altogether, because I'm going to continue to go in on you mama's boys. Now, of course, all of you simps are going to claim that black women only lead by default, but evidence says the opposite, because during the civil rights era and black power movement of the 1960s, many black women were begging the brothers who were in charge of different outfits to give them more responsibility, whether it was the Student Christian Leadership Council, Urban League, the Congress of Racial Equality, otherwise known as CORE, or different Black Panther chapters all across America.
There's two things I'm always mistaken for: an Afrocentric and a black nationalist, because I deeply espouse so much of both, but I'm a womanist. I am not able to completely embrace black nationalism because it is so so male identified. My thing is that we are half of God. If there is a God, then men are one half and we're the other half. And we cannot have a situation where we're basically going to have this utopian society where now blackness is the thing, but we are going to be in the mule position still. That is what I cannot accept about black nationalism. They still want us to be this mule who is at their beck and call, their command. And they still want us to be this mule who is at their beck and call, their command.
A lot of people ask me how I became the chairman of the Black Panther Party. And by the way, I was never the chairperson, the chair, or the chairwoman. I was always called the chairman of the Black Panther Party because that was the post I took over. And so that post was called chairman. So I was called chairman. Because we weren't that worried about, being called chairman versus chairwoman versus whatever it was at that moment. And they asked this question as though there's something bizarre about a woman being the head of the Black Panther Party, or like, how did a woman become the head of the Black Panthers, presumed to be a male-dominated paramilitary organization, and actually was a male-dominated paramilitary revolutionary organization.
And black men said, hey, you know what, sister? Get on up there and do your thing. You're going to be our ace in the hole. You are going to be the anchor in this race. All we need you to do is pull through in the home stretch. And you know what, black man? She has yet to cross that finish line. We handed her that baton in the late 1960s, and she's still waving at the crowd and blushing for the cameras as if she is a homecoming queen being driven around the track during halftime, because she never realized that this is a race and it's all about competition. When you're going to conclude that she doesn't want to compete for you, black man, and that is why she sticks to this shortage of good black men propaganda that she blabbed about all across national TV, while women of other cultures don't have a problem finding black bachelors to marry so they can form families where children have better opportunities of becoming productive members of society. And rather than take a stand and challenge these ignoramus women on their laughable theories, you weak, sorry simps and pussy whip manginas keep rooting against yourselves by telling these women, right on, sister, these brothers can't handle you because you too strong. Black man, she has done nothing but scream and shout about the respect and admiration that she swears up and down she is entitled to, while others must earn it.
Why I gotta be owing you? I was prom queen of King High School. This is beneath me.
That used to be the prom queen, now you ain't nothing but the prom fiend. Look at you now, look at you.
Somebody needs to pay.
She's your queen to be.
And this is one of the major reasons why I tell you, brothers, that you must stake your claim and remove her from her current post, because she is part of your claim too. men all over the planet know this. And that is why they have no problem moving into black communities and putting up storefronts, because they know black women are going to do nothing but spend millions, if not billions of dollars, because she is never going to use her superior income as seed money to start her own movements and set up building blocks to create social, political, and economic progress. That's common sense. That's logic. But you mama's boys wish to keep debating me over this topic when the outcome is obvious.
This guy will kill you to death inside of 3 rounds.
You're crazy.
What else is new?
He's just another fighter.
No, he ain't just another fighter. This guy is a wrecking machine, and he's hungry.
To even suggest that these women are qualified to continue leading the community based on the amount of degrees they have collected, as opposed to their current resume of renowned failure, speaks volumes. And that is why I'm telling all men who know this must stop, that we must separate ourselves from these mama's boys, because they will never hold this woman to standard. And a large reason why they won't is because they were raised in these single-parent homes by women who taught them that mediocrity was acceptable. Let me tell you something. When I was in the 2nd grade, I came back home with a little ribbon for a school project that I did. And I was pretty pumped up about it because I came in 2nd place. I was bragging about how well I did. My father said, "Sit down, son. Let me talk to you." He said, "Doc, remember when the Redskins won the Super Bowl last year? And they had that big parade downtown when they got back home with the trophy?" I said, "Yeah." He then said, "This year they went back to the Super Bowl, but they lost to the Raiders. Was there a big parade for the team when they got back home, son?" And I said, "No, there wasn't." And he said, "You need to think about that the next time you are bragging about being second best." And that's exactly what one of the many roles of a father is. They are there to tell their son to knock it off and take it down a notch when he is busy showing off a minor feat and he has not accomplished the actual goal. You see this all the time in the NFL. When these mama's boy wide receivers and defensive backs spike the ball and pose like runway models after a measly first down, catch, or pick, and they are nowhere near the end zone.
Loading up deep for Deshaun Jackson. He hauled it in. Oh, wow. Did he get over the goal line? We got to make sure he broke the plane on that, guys. It's a great dance, but it's also one of the all-time bonehead plays.
That wasn't even the first time Deshaun Jackson got a little ahead of himself. In the 2005 All-American Bowl, he again mistimes his celebration, fumbling before the goal line.
And Owens draws more boos by standing in the middle of the blue star and looking heavenward and spreading his arms.
Here we go.
They're going to have a big fight. There goes Owens, puts it down, and George Teague levels him.
Here it goes.
And now Teague is aimed at by an offensive lineman. Flozell Adams pulls Teague away, and Owens is waved to the bench, and he stands in the middle of the star and holds the ball out. There are flags everywhere.
You can see right through them because it's as if they're saying, "Mama, Mama, you see me, Mama? I made the catch." While the referees are itching to penalize them.
I've often said this, I didn't have to look any further than the dining room table for my role model. I always wanted to honor my parents. I always wanted to realize my dream, too.
Marcus Allen was a football star for Lincoln High School in San Diego.
I was a defensive player. Loved to hit people.
One time he made one game, 49 tackles.
But they needed a quarterback, and coach wanted him to play quarterback, and he really didn't want to.
I went under center as instructed, and I fumbled the ball, I think it was maybe 8 times in a row. And I did it on purpose, and he knew I did it on purpose, and so he kicked me off the team, which was shocking to me because I was the best player on the team, potentially the best player in San Diego. I wanted my father to raise some hell and say, "Are you crazy? Who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing?" And my dad didn't do that at all.
He wanted me to go up there and beat up the coach. I said, no, you got to be a team player.
Allen returned to the team. His senior season, he played defensive back and also quarterback. Lincoln won the county finals, and he scored all 5 of the team's touchdowns. The performance earned him a scholarship to USC and a trip to the Waldorf Astoria in New York City.
It was a Hertz #1 award for the most outstanding performance, and I represented the state of California.
He was going to be a defensive back, and he was going to be a part of our group. Having Dennis Smith, having Joey Browner, and possibly Marcus Allen, that would have been a great secondary.
But tailback, not defensive back, was the position USC was famous for.
Tailback was the position I really cared the most about. There was a tradition of greatness at that position and a responsibility that went with it.
His junior season, Allen ran for over 1,500 yards, but was unable to break the long run.
There were a lot of times that Marcus Allen slipped in the hole or slipped making a cut, and the press got on him. And, it's not easy. I think the one that really got him was the LA Times said, "Does SC finally have an average tailback?"
His senior season, Allen shattered the college football record book. He became the first running back in history to run for over 2,000 yards.
The winner of the 1981 Heisman Trophy Award, Marcus Allen of the University of Southern California.
Probably the happiest day of my life right now, and it's, I guess, an award that is very, very prestigious, and I guess I found my place in history now.
I remember calling home, talking to my mom. "Mom, we did it." I said, "Let me talk to Dad." And she said, "Well, he can't talk right now." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, he's crying."
It was his dad who first convinced him to be a team player. It led to Allen accepting a new position in high school, then in college. Both times, he was ultimately rewarded with the highest individual honor he could win.
The Oakland Raiders, Oakland's first-round selection, running back, Marcus Allen of USC.
Throughout his life, Marcus Allen was never too far from his father, Harold.
My father was always present in every aspect of my life.
I still can't figure this out. For 11 years he played for the Raiders. I was the only father in that locker room after every game.
When it came time for the Hall of Fame and Allen needed a presenter, there was one obvious choice.
He said, "I want the world to know that I got a daddy. You going to present me?" I said, "Okay, thank you."
I personally despise you Mama's boys worse than Sergeant Waters couldn't stand C.J. Memphis in a soldier store.
C.J. Memphis, playing cotton picker, singing the blues, bowing and scraping, smiling in white folks' faces. This man undermined us, you and me, everybody. That Yassa boss is hiding something.
I don't even hold conversations with you mama's boys. In fact, I was at the gym a while back, and me and some other men were having a discussion about youngsters who wear sagging skinny jeans. And this mama's boy that happened to be over 50 years of age interrupted us while we were talking, telling us that we were dead wrong for being judgmental. And then this moron proceeded to back his argument up by saying, my mama say,
Mama used to say, take your time, young man. Mama used to say, don't you rush to get old. Mama used to say, take it in your stride. Mama used to say.
And once he did that, I simply walked away. Then the idiot followed me, asking me why I turned my back on him while he was talking. And I told him, because I'm talking to you. We are two grown adult men. What does your mother have to do with this conversation? I went on to tell the brother that although your mother's word is dear to you, and you fall back on her morals as if they were set in stone, she did not validate a code of decency and righteousness that I had to honor. And the moment I told him this, I could see one of his eyes involuntarily twitching because I touched that mama's boy nerve. And that's when the man began yelling back and forth and rolling his eyes, and that's when I just laughed and continued to work out while this cat huffed and puffed and eventually stormed out of the gym, just like those women did in that Glenarden Town Council meeting video that I shared with you all months back. Oh yeah, I noticed early on in life, even as a little boy, when me and the other neighborhood kids played dozens and got to snapping, joning, and cutting on one another, that it was always that punk-ass mama's boy that was the first one ready to fight when you said that his mama had two left titties. Don't you say nothing about my mama. My mama fixed my peanut butter jelly sandwich. I never could stand me a mama's boy because most of the time they were weak links. In fact, when I was playing football in college, we had this old snotty-nosed mama's boy on our team who was always showboating hard and popping off at the mouth, even when we would rack his ass at practice instead of shutting his damn mouth and going back to the huddle to get the next play. And we had this game, this away game, in North Carolina. And this fool really showed his true colors as a mama's boy when he screwed up an assignment on a kick return that cost us some valuable yards. And when the coach benched his behind, he got all salty, refusing to come off the field at first and blowing it even further for us because we had to call an unnecessary timeout. And when he finally came off the field, he was all teary-eyed and yelling back and forth, talking about, man, how you gonna take me out the game, coach? My mama at this game watching me. And when the coach told this fool to calm down and wait the series out, he slammed his helmet to the turf and started pacing back and forth like a 4-year-old, even though this was a fully grown college student that played halfback and return kicks. I played defense in college, and our offense was on the field at that point, and I was right there watching the entire tirade take place. And it really blew my mind when one of the other coaches asked this fool's mother to leave the stands and accompany her son into the locker room to console her baby. And the moment this was suggested, I looked right to our head coach. And he just quietly nodded yes, even though it was clear that he didn't want to do so. And I loved our head coach to death, but I lost major respect for him as a man when he didn't nip that situation in the bud right then and there and tell that assistant coach that suggested that crap, hell no, and tell my mama's boy teammate to hit the showers and return his damn equipment once he came back from the road trip. I mean, nobody in the stands was focused on watching the ball game or checking out the pageantry of the university experience because they were all laughing at the mama's boy and poking fun at the rest of us, saying, who's going to be the next softy to beg for his mama to come from the stands when the coach puts him on the sidelines? And as much as I continued to play hard and do whatever I could do to help my team win, I didn't even care whether we won or lost the game at that point, because it was just flat out embarrassing to our team, the coaching staff, the band and cheerleaders that traveled down there with us, as well as the rest of the school. In fact, when we got back home, me and some of the other teammates started doing that dude like Private Pile in the movie Full Metal Jacket.
Do it! Do it!
Remember, it's just a bad dream, fat boy.
Like I stated to many who have listened to me on past radio shows I've been on, these mama's boys are just like gremlins. Single mothers bring them back from the hospital when they're cute and cuddly, and they coddle and spoil the living hell out of them because they have no idea how to raise boys into men. And once these mama's boys grow up, they destroy communities whole. Your mama so wretched, she scared the dope dealers' customers away.